Let's talk about the single crochet stitch. This is what a lot of projects start with. Once you've created your foundation chain row, of course. So with every project, we are going to start with a slip knot. And for this tutorial, I'm just going to do a swatch of 10. So that means I'm going to do a foundation chain row of 10. So we're going to yarn over, pull through the loop. So remember that creates your chain stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So here we have our chain of 10 stitches. The V's are the front part of your work. Okay, so if you put that down, so the V's are the front part of your work. If you were to turn that over, see how there's a lot of bumps there? That is the back of your work. So right now we are going to keep the front part of our work facing us. So we've done our 10 chains, and now it's time for us to do our first stitch, which is the single crochet. Now, in order to get the height that we need to work this stitch, we need to actually chain 1 at the end. So sometimes you're going to get projects that say start with chain 20 plus 1, chain 15 plus 1. Anytime there's a plus 1 or plus 2, plus 3, they represent turning stitches at the end. So for the single crochet, we need to chain 1 to turn at the end. So you're actually going to have 11 chains right now. We are going to find the second chain from the hook. You never count the loop that's currently on your hook. So if I'm looking at my work, this is the first chain, this is the second, and that's the stitch we want to insert our hook into. So for the single crochet, you're going to take your hook and you are going to insert it into that stitch. So it comes out the back there. And then you will take the long part of your yarn, you'll yarn over, and you'll notice again the hook will just grab that yarn naturally, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to pull it through so that now you have 2 loops on your hook, okay? Then you will yarn over again, and notice I'm using my thumb and forefinger to kind of secure the base of my work down. If I don't do that, it's just going to flop around everywhere, and you'll have a hard time trying to figure out where to go. Okay, so we've yarned over, and now we're going to pull through all 2 of those loops. And there you have the single crochet stitch. Now, right now, it doesn't look like much at all. In fact, it might really clump up on you on the first one here because it can be a little tricky. The chain is very wonky. But once you get this first row kind of underway, it'll start to solidify your work a bit more. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to insert my hook there. And so I need to find the next stitch. So I'm just going to pull apart my work here so you can see. So the next stitch I have is this one right here. So I'm going to insert my hook into that one. And I'm going to yarn over, which it did naturally. I'm going to pull that through. Again, I now have 2 loops on my hook. I will yarn over again and pull through both of them. Again, notice I'm securing my work on the bottom, so it helps to make pulling through a lot easier. So now I have 2 single crochets. We're going to do that again. You want to find the very next stitch, which will be this one. So see how this is kind of creating a gap? That's okay. That just means you've worked into that stitch. The next one is right beside it. So we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, making sure to secure the bottom of your work here. You're going to pull through that stitch so that now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through both of them. So there we have a row starting to happen here. Okay, once more, we're going to insert our hook into the very next stitch, which is this one. Okay, we're going to yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so we have a foundation row of single crochets starting to happen there. So if you notice now at the top of these stitches, see those V's? That is now how you're going to count your stitches. That's the top of your stitch. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish that off, and then when we get to the end of this row, I will take you through how to turn around. We are coming to the end of our row here, and so here I have 2 more stitches available. So this is the last stitch I just worked, this is the next stitch, and this is the stitch after that. So I have 2 more available. You never want to count the knot here, that's your slip knot. Okay, that's just used to secure your work at the end. So we're going to finish this off together. Again, I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch, yarn over and pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both of them. And now we have our last one. Especially in the foundation chain row, it can get quite tricky. It's easy to kind of allow the chain to twist, and so that's going to create a bump. I know it's frustrating, but it's super important. If that happens, you should really unravel your work and do it again. Because if you don't, then you're going to have a bump in there, and it's just going to decrease the quality of your work. Trust me, I know it's a pain in the butt, but as you get better and better at doing this, that'll happen less and less often. So we're now down to the final stitch here. Just before that slip knot, I'm going to insert my hook there, pull through, yarn over and pull through. So there we have our 10 single crochets. Now, I want to make sure there's 10. So in this particular swatch, I decided to chain 10 plus my turning chain. So a great way to count, because a lot of times when you're trying to figure out which one is the first one, is it the one down here, is it the one up here? Super safe is to start from your working loop. So you never count that loop. So I start counting from here backwards. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this number 10, that was the chain, that extra chain we made to come up around the bend there. So I know I have the correct number of single crochets across all of my chain stitches. So now we want to continue on and build our project. So once we come to the end, we know that in order to build the height of a single crochet, we need to chain 1. So before we move on, we do a chain 1, okay, and then we turn our work. And if you are right-handed, like I am, your work to be worked into will always face to your left, or will be always angled to your left. Okay, If you're left-handed, it would be the opposite. So if you're left-handed, you're working from left to right. If you're right-handed, you're working from right to left. Okay, so we've chained one and we've turned. So see, now we are facing the back of our work. Okay, so now remember how we saw those V's at the top, but that faces the front. Once we've turned, we are now having to work into the back of our work. So these little grooves here are now the backs of the stitches that we work into. Okay, so you're going to see, if I can make it here, you're going to see that there is a groove here, and you're going to say, wow, okay, so I'm going to insert my hook here. And actually the answer would be no, you wouldn't, because that gap there, that's actually the bottom of your chain one. So remember, your chain one at the beginning of every row represents the height of a single crochet stitch. So that's considered a single crochet already done. So we proceed on to the second stitch. So we always skip that very first one on the bottom. If you stitch into that, what happens is it expands your work and it actually creates an extra V on the top, which will then give you 11 stitches. So just keep that in mind. Always skip that first, for most patterns anyway. There are special exceptions, but we'll get to that much later on. So for now, you're going to skip this first one here. Oops, you're going to skip that first one here, and you're going to go into the second groove there, that stitch. So you'll insert your hook, and now we're working in real stitches, not just chain stitches. So when you insert your hook, you're going to notice that you've got that full V on your hook there. See how there's two strands? That is correct. That's what we want to do when you're doing just a regular old single crochet. So you've inserted your hook, you've yarned over, you've pulled through, and again we've got 2 loops. Okay, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 of them. Now be careful too when you do that chain one at the end. If you do it too tightly, it will get lost and it'll be hard for you to see coming around the other side. Okay, so now we are going to continue into the next stitch. So the next stitch we're going to work into is right there. We're going to insert our hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. And again, the next stitch, insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, again, oops, you're going to insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So there you have it. So now you're starting to build up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and let you finish that at the end, and then we'll talk about turning our work again. We are coming to the end of our row again. So we've got a full stitch here, so you can see that. Sorry, the camera's being a bit funny. So you've got that stitch here. Okay, so you're going to insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're down to our last stitch, and I want you to notice something. This stitch is actually the chain 1 turn. So it's really easy to lose that. Now luckily I was, fairly relaxed in doing this stitch. So when I turn over, it's going to be inserted right into there. But I want to make sure that I catch not just the one strand here, but both of them, and the full V is over the hook. There we go. So you can see that I have the full chain on my hook. Okay, so then I will yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So there's the end of my second row, and you can see that it's starting to take shape there. Again, I'm going to double check that I have 10 stitches. Super important, especially when you're just starting to learn crochet, it's so easy to just miss a stitch and then the work starts getting a little wonky. I so know it's kind of a pain in the butt, but if you get this habit now, you will do much better later on. And it creates a good habit for fast, easy, and good quality crocheting. So from the left, I'm going to start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is your 10. Remember that chain 1? Actually, yeah, see? This is a good example. I did it a little bit too tight, so it's almost hard to catch, so you just got to watch that. So now, when we go to chain 1 for our next row, I just keep in mind, I just want to keep it fairly relaxed. So you're going to yarn over and pull through really nice and easy, so I'm keeping it fairly loose, and I'm going to turn my work. Okay? And remember, we skip that first gap because that's the bottom of this stitch. So we move into the second stitch. Okay, second, and make sure you go right through that V. Very good. Pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, insert into the next stitch. It's this, you can see by the grooves there that are created. Pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is how we do the single crochet stitch. And you can do all kinds of things with just this stitch. You can make a scarf, you can make hats, you can make mittens, all kinds of things. So this is definitely a stitch that you're going to see a lot in all kinds of projects. So it's definitely a good one to get used to get comfortable with. And I would definitely continue on and do a long swatch of this so that you can really practice the technique. And there you have the single crochet stitch. And you are ready to get started on your first project.